What's up, everybody? Welcome to some Gahiji. Honored one. Hope you're excited. We have some nice little Naya enchanters for you today. Maybe a few little beast creatures sprinkled in there, here and there, but let's start off with Gahiji. So we're playing Gahiji Honored one. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents or a planeswalker an opponent controls, that creature gets +2, +0 until end of turn. I'm not a huge Naya person. Naya is usually the opposite of the color spectrum as far as commander goes, but I've had a lot of fun with Gahiji. I've been on a really big enchantress kick since, ever since I built Gitrog. I built Tana, and I wanted to build something that was actually true core Enchantress kind of value engine style deck. And I was looking at Gahiji, and it just looked like it'd be a really great commander to kind of, get some of your earlier threats out, your good utility creatures out, and then kind of ramp into some nice little beast creatures, and then use Gahiji's +2 bonus to kind of really help push through a nice little alpha strike. So that's kind of what we're going for, is a nice little alpha strike with Gahiji. So we've covered Gahiji. Let's go and start with some of the Enchantress card draw pieces. These are the pretty much the glue that holds the deck together. We have a Growthian Enchantress. She has Shroud, and basically all of these. I'm not going to read every single one, but basically, if we cast an enchantment spell or an enchantment spell hits the battlefield, we're going to draw a card. So we have Growthian Enchantress. She has Shroud, which is a really good target for us. We have Verdurian Enchantress. Same thing. Cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. Mesa Enchantress, the white version of that. Eidolon of Blossoms. Eidolon of Blossoms is a little bit different. It is 4 mana. Whenever Eidolon enters the battlefield, you're going to get a card draw. And then whenever an enchantment or another enchantment enters the battlefield, you're going to get a card draw. So simply just casting her for 4 will net you 1 card draw, and then any other sort of enchantments you get out there. We're also running Academy Rector in here. Whenever she dies, you may exile it. If you do, search your library for an enchantment card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So I'm going to go ahead and include her into the enchantment, like an Enchantress package, just because she searches up a nice little tutor enchantment for us if we need it. And as far as some of the tutor lines, I'll kind of cover those later in the deck tech, but just a really good utility card. If you're building any sort of Enchantress deck, she's almost an auto-include. Even if you're not doing anything busted or you're just looking to have fun with an Enchantress deck, she's just a really good utility card to have in the deck. Alright, so we covered the Enchantress card draw pieces. Let's go ahead and cover the enchantment ramp. I think we're running around 45 enchantments in here, 40 or something, a pretty big number of enchantments. We're running a lot of stuff that's going to enchant our land. So we have Abundant Growth. It enters the battlefield, we're going to draw a card. Then the enchanted land has add 1 mana, tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. It's not that great. We're not getting ahead on mana, but we do have a lot of utility lands in here. So let's say that we have something like Sunhome Forge, the Boros, like attack land or whatever. Not attack land, but the pump land. So we can put Abundant Growth on there, get a little extra card draw for our Enchantress pieces, and then make sure that colorless land taps for some sort of color. We're also running Burgeoning in here. Whenever our opponent plays a land, we can put a land onto the battlefield. This is a really good way for us to ramp really quick, since we're pretty much just only ramping with our enchantment spells. Unbridled Growth. It's kind of like Abundant Growth in that we enchant the land, but we have to sacrifice it to draw a card. Mainly, this is something that you want to have something like a Growthy Enchantress down, and you start casting these 1 and 2 mana spells to really start cycling through your deck, really drawing those cards. And then the fact that you can sacrifice it to draw a card when you need it is a really good added bonus. Wild Growth. Enchant land, whenever it's tapped for mana, its controller adds green to their mana pool. So this is where we're finally starting to get ahead on mana. We'll put it on forest. We tap the forest, we're going to tap for 2. We're also running Arbor Elf in here, so if we put it on, if we start putting a lot of these enchantments on one particular forest, we can tap it and then untap it with Arbor Elf. We're also running Trace of Abundance. Enchant land has Shroud. Whenever it's tapped for mana, it adds an additional mana. This is mainly in here that if we draw into Serra's Sanctum, we have Serra's Sanctum in the hand, because I'll cover that later in the deck tech. But that's pretty much kind of the other piece of the puzzle that kind of holds this deck together, is Serra's Sanctum. So if we do draw into that, we have Trace of Abundance to give it Shroud, to where that way they can't target it with Ghost Quarter or any sort of land destruction. Keep it protected, because as the game wears on, you can generate a pretty nice little chunk of mana with Trace of Abundance. And the next thing that we're running is Gift of Paradise. Enters the battlefield 3 mana, and enchant land has add 2 mana of any color to your mana pool. So, the 3 life gain, it's nice. Nothing to write home about. But we're also running Overgrowth. Whenever it's tapped, adds double green to their mana pool. So this is just like the Wild Growth, in that we can tap for whatever color we need, whatever land that is, and we're going to add double green to that. So it's a really good ramp card. We're also running Rites of Flourishing. I love card draw effects. I love being able to play additional lands, and it fits in really well with our enchantments. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card, and then each player may play an additional land on each one of their turns. So this is a really good way for us to kind of ramp in some of those bigger beast creatures. We're to ramp into Gahiji, and simply just kind of get our card draw going. I don't know, I love drawing cards, it's a lot of fun. Weirding Wood enters the battlefield. we get a clue token, and then the enchant land has that 2 mana of any one color to your mana pool. So it's kind of nice in that, let's say you have 4 mana, you put the Weirding Wood on the untapped land, you get that clue token, you can still crack it, and at the same time still doing a little bit of ramp. So once again, some of these enchantments they're not the best, but hey, we're building an Enchantress deck, trying to make it as good as we can, and that's what we've got going on. So those are the enchantment ramps. Next on is the enchantment combat style things that help us kind of push through certain combat elements. Running Mass Hysteria, all creatures have haste. Once again, it's just one red mana, which will allow us to start cycling if we have any of our Enchantress pieces out there. We have the Crossroads out here, same thing. All creatures have haste. Brave the Sands, really good card. It's only 2 mana. Creatures you control have vigilance. Each creature you control can block an additional creature each combat. So if we start giving some of our big beast tokens out there, beast creatures, I don't know why I keep calling them beast tokens. I've been doing those all gameplay videos. They're creatures. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, kind of got off the path right there, but I'm more mad at myself for doing that. But yeah, so when you get a nice little 5/5 or 6/6 on the battlefield, you can kind of, having that additional clause to block an additional creature is actually pretty nice. And plus the vigilance part's always really nice because you're going to get that +2 bonus from Gahiji. We're also running Primal Rage. Creatures you control have trample. This is in here mainly just as a good way to, this Gahiji deck is not necessarily trying to hit our opponent every single turn. We want to get in a spot where we have a nice little alpha swing and we can swing in, apply that +2 bonus, and then have enough to kind of trample over and close the game out from there, instead of going for like incremental damage. So something like Primal Rage allowing us to have trample across all of our creatures is really good and nice for the deck. We're also running Aggravated Assault, 3 mana, then 5 mana untapped creatures. Basically you get another untapped step. It's a good way for us to kind of sink some mana in there. We have Fires of Yavimaya. Creatures you control have haste, and then sacrifice it. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So let's say that we need to push through X amount of commander damage. Our creatures have haste. We can sacrifice this target Gahiji with that +2 bonus and kind of go from there. Berserker's Onslaught. Attacking creatures you control have double strike. Once again, just nice little combat enchantment. We're also running Xenagos, God of Revels. Indestructible, Devotion 7, turns into a creature. Then at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains haste and gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is that creature's power. So let's say we have one of our big beast tokens out. We have Primal Rage on the battlefield. Go for a really nice Xenagos, get a really nice plus bonus on that. And then at the beginning of combat, let me see. I'm pretty sure that we can stack the triggers to where we still get the we can apply the Gahiji trigger first and then go for the Xenagos trigger after that. So, or at least put the Xenagos trigger on the stack first, then put the Gahiji trigger on the stack. That way we get an additional bonus from Xenagos. We're also running the God of Victory. Same thing, Devotion 7 creature. Main thing is creatures we control have menace. So if we're looking to really close the game out with a bunch of big creatures, having that menace ability and applying a trample damage across 2 with Primal Rage really kind of help you get in the spot to kind of close it out from there. So that's the combat enchantments that we have. Let's go over to the utility enchantments that we have. We're running in here Enchantress Presence. This keeps on theme with the other enchantment card draw that we're running, except it's an actual enchantment, so we don't have to worry about a damnation or a board wipe or anything like that. We're also running the Guile. At the beginning of upkeep, you may look at the top 3 cards of your library, put them back in any order. Since we're running three colors in this deck, we're running a lot of fetch land, so it's really good with the deck in that we can, if the top 3, if we're not just simply keep reshuffling the top 3 cards of our library, we can grab a fetch land, reshuffle it up, and then still get that nice effect. Sylvan Library, you know what Sylvan Library does. Sylvan Primordium, it's a good little utility spell to kind of pop anything, especially having that activated ability. It's really nice. We can put it on the battlefield, it'll count towards Sarah's Sanctum, and then if we need to do anything mid-combat, I don't think I was recording, but there's one game where we popped it and took care of one of their artifact creatures, which allowed us to kind of get a nice little alpha swing in. So Sterling Grove, really good card for the deck. Other enchantments you control have Shroud, so basically they're going to have to target Sterling Grove before they can target anything else, so it's kind of like a Spellskite style effect. And then for 1 mana, sacrifice it, search your library for an enchantment card, reveal that card, and then put it on top. So this is a really good way to protect our enchantments and give ourselves a nice little tutor when we need to use it. And keeping on theme with the Seal of Primordium, we can leave it on the battlefield and crack it until we actually need it and kind of count towards the Sarah's Sanctum. Oblivion Ring, pretty cool. Nice card. Karmic Justice. Whenever a spell or ability controls destroy a non-creature permanent you control, you may destroy target permanent that opponent controls. So, beautiful card. Love this card art. Just wanted to highlight that real quick. But yeah, as far as if you're going in all-in enchantments, this is a really good card to have, especially if they have any sort of spot removal on some of your enchantments. You can kind of blow up whatever you want. It's just because they can. It's whenever you destroy non-creature permanent of your own, but then you get to destroy anything. So just target permanent. It doesn't really matter. You can go for their lands, whatever. Love the card. We're also running Nature's Will. we don't really get it online that much, but it's a nice utility card to have in the deck. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, tap all lands that player controls, and then untap all lands that you control. So it's just nice to have that ability to kind of generate some extra mana on your second main phase. We're also running Abundance. So basically with Abundance, it's choose land or non-land card, and then you'll flip until you hit the card that you want, either land or non-land. So we can get it down. If we need to start hitting our lands, or maybe we're trying to dig for Sarah's Sanctum, the odds may not be in our favor, but if we need to go for it, we can go for that. And if we have more than enough mana established, and when you start drawing more actual answers, we can choose non-land to draw up the Abundance. Then, whenever you have anything like, I played the Abundance against like Necasaur one time, and they go for a wheel effect. You just keep choosing non-land cards, so you fill your hand up with a bunch of really good spells, which is really nice. We're also running Ride of the Raging Storm. Long story short, our opponent's going to get this 5/1 red elemental creature token, but it can't attack us. So we're going to get it on each of our turns. It's a 5/1 body that has haste. We're going to be able to swing in, give it a nice little 7/1 with the Gahiji bonus if it's on the battlefield, and then we throw something in like Primal Rage, which has Trample. Really good for the deck to help us kind of push through some more combat damage. Mirari's Wake, it's a nice little creature buff, +1/+1, and then it acts like a Crypt Gas style effect in that we get to tap for double mana out of the land. So getting down Mirari's Wake and then untapping the next turn with it on the battlefield is usually more than enough to kind of help you close the game out. Running Squirrel Nest, it's always nice to have running some nice little enchant lands. We need something else for Arbor Elf to untap, and plus you get some nice little squirrel tokens, which is always fun. We're also running a Symbol of the Legion, which is, there we go. Symbol of the Legion, love this card, one of my top 5 Magic cards in general. I don't know, it's just fun card to play with. If I can find an excuse to put it in a deck, I'll put it in there. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a muster counter on it, and then create a 1/1 red and white soldier creature token with haste for each muster counter on a Symbol of the Legion. So, let's say that your opponent has a big creature out there, you get it down, next turn you get 1 soldier, you can kind of chump block, then 2 soldiers, chump block, and then eventually, if the game keeps wearing on, you're going to be getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 soldiers on the battlefield, especially if Gahiji's been sent to the command zone a million times. It's an alternative win condition, or it's something that will kind of be a nice little bonus to kind of give for the Gahiji +2 bonus. And then the fact that they have haste, naturally is a really nice, really nice card for the deck. We're also running a little bit of utility, just kind of value spells. Primeval Bounty. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 3/3 beast creature token. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may put 3 counters on target creature you control. And then whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life. So getting to 6 mana with something like Sarah's Sanctum is not that crazy. And then getting beast tokens, sorry. Getting beast tokens off our creature cast spells is just really nice value, and then having the 3/+1 counters, just a good utility card all around. And Overwhelming Splendor, love it, really fun card. Enchant player, creatures enchanted player controls lose all abilities and have base power and toughness of 1/1, and then enchanted player can't activate abilities that aren't mana abilities or loyalty abilities. So, really fun card. I thought about running Elish Norn in here, and then I was like, well, let's go Overwhelming Splendor. It'd be a really nice target for Academy Rector if something happens to her. And I do have one game where I get this down, and it really does make a huge difference. So, and then also with Sarah's Sanctum out there, I mean, if they don't have an answer for Sarah's Sanctum, I mean, you're looking at turn 5. I mean, you're generating 5, 6, 7 mana sometimes. So you can just pop this down and then start going to town with Gahiji. It really helps. So, that's the utility enchantments. We have a few utility spells I just wanted to cover. We have the Idyllic Tutor. Search your library for an enchantment card. Replenish that way. If something, somebody blows up all of our enchantments, we can cast Replenish and bring it all back to the battlefield. I had a really, really good video going. And at Sarah's Sanctum, rocking and rolling, and then somebody blew up all my enchantments, and I had Replenish in the hand, and I recast it. And my opponent kind of got salty and scooped, so I was hoping to post that video for you, but it wasn't really that good of a video to post, but at least I'm going to tell you about it so you can imagine how good it would be to kind of start rolling enchantments out your entire, like, turns 1 through turn 6, and then they blow it up, and then you go for a replenish right after that, just kind of reset it. So I got a quick little scoop on that, so I didn't post it up, but I want you to know about it. We're also running Creeping Renaissance. Choose a creature type, return all cards of the chosen type from your graveyard to your hand. This is good for the enchantments, or we could just name a creature, like any certain creatures, like some of our, let's say we get a lot of our Enchantress card drop pieces out. Sorry, I keep thinking about that game. It felt really good. So let's say that all of our Enchantress pieces are going and then they blow it up. We can go Creeping Renaissance and name, land, creature, whatever, kind of bring them back. We're also running e-call. Search your library for a creature card, reveal that card, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Just a nice little green-white tutor spell, especially since it goes to the hand. And then crop rotation. Sack a land, search your library for a land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. We're also running Sylvan Scrying, and the big target that we're going to go for is Sarah's Sanctum. Add white mana for each enchantment you control. Wonderful card. Love getting this down, especially if you can get it protected with the what is it? The Trace of Abundance, nice little Shroud card. You just generate a ton of mana. We're also running Deserted Temple in here too to untap target land. So as long as it's not doesn't have Shroud, we can get into spots where we can just kind of keep untapping like that, generating some nice little mana. Okay, that's the utility spells. Let's go over to the beast tokens that we're running. Beast creatures. Running Spellbreaker Behemoth. Can't be countered. Creature spells you control can't with power 5 or greater can't be countered, which Gahiji fits into that slot. We're also running Thragtusk. You know, as far as this deck is concerned, there's better utility creatures out there that we could run as far as our finishers, but I just wanted to go Beast, hence the name Gahiji Beast Mode. I don't know, I wanted to have a Beast deck, so here we are. Because I like, whenever cards get released, like, you know, if they release new Beast, I want to keep this deck updated with new Beast cards, so that's kind of why I went Beast. So functionally, it would probably be better if you ran some more utility cards, but I like playing with Beast creatures, so here we are. Thragtusk, you gain 5 life, and then whenever it leaves the battlefield, you get a nice little 3/3 Beast creature token. Rampaging Balos, Trample, and then whenever a land enters the battlefield, you get full 4 Beast creature token. Thunderfoot Baloth, I love this card. A lot of fun. Trample, getting to 6 mana is not that crazy, and as long as we have Gahiji on the battlefield, it gets +2/+2, and then our other creatures get +2/+2 and have Trample. So, you have that nice little 0/1 Growthian Enchantress, get down Thunderfoot, and it turns into a nice little 3/1 or 2/1 or whatever, has Trample, I don't know. Go, Growthian Enchantress, go, have fun. We're running Woodland Bellower. It's a little bit late for a green target, but you can still search your library for a non-legendary green creature card with very mana cost 3 less, put it on the battlefield, so that'll definitely be one of our Enchantress card draw pieces. It's never late than never to get some of those Enchantress pieces on the battlefield, so definitely welcome that nice little tutor effect on it. Plus, it's a 6/5 body, so you always take that. We're also running the Megalanoth. Sorry, I butchered that one. Vigilance Trample, whenever it blocks a creature, it deals that much damage to that creature's equal to its power. So really nice way to kind of, if it blocks, it can deal that damage to the creature's controller. And of course, you can't run a Beast deck without Craterhoof Behemoth. Haste, whenever it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain Trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures that you control. Alright, we're also running, last bit of the deck tech, running Tooth and Nail. Entwine for 9, that's what we're going to go for. And we're running Avenger of Zendikar and the War Leader. These are our 2 utility creature spells. If we need to go for Tooth and Nail, since we're running a little light on Beast creatures, we can go Tooth and Nail, Avenger of Zendikar to kind of get those plant tokens on the battlefield, and then go Craterhoof to make sure our Beast tokens on the battlefield have some nice little trample damage. Or if we have Haste on the battlefield, it's always nice to have the access to like a little bit of an army in the can. And then with the War Leader, when we untap for a new combat step, those Gahiji triggers stack. So we sing in one, everyone gets +2/+0. And then we do the next untap combat step, you get another additional +2/+0. So that's really nice. Just wanted to highlight that interaction. But yes, that is going to wrap up the deck tech. I have 3 gameplay videos for you. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.